everyone, and welcome to the Cinematic Schematic, the official podcast of the Cinematropolis.com, your home to thoughtful conversations on film. I'm your host, Caleb Masters, and today we're continuing our exclusive coverage of the 2022 dCFF Film Festival with a closer look at one of this year's most exciting new additions. And I say this genuinely because I am very excited for this block of films. A series of midnight-style short and feature films called UndeadCenter. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back as this year's official podcast media partner for the dCFF 2022 Film Festival. And today we'll be welcoming back special guest Mickey Reece here in one moment to tell you about what exactly is UndeadCenter before we dive into a few of the highlights that pass holders can find within this little block of films. The name Mickey Reece may ring a bell. We've had him on the show a couple times in the past. He is an award-winning Oklahoma filmmaker. He's worked on such films as Mickey Reece's Alien. He's got a new film coming out soon called Country Gold. Strike, Dear Mistress, and Cure His Heart. Mickey Reece, also, I would call you the godfather of UndeadCenter, if that's appropriate. Welcome back to the Cinematic Schematic.
Thank you for having me. It's always a good time to be here. It's always a pleasure.
It's been a long time. We've had a pandemic in here, and it's just been so hard to get the band back together.
And I really like your new setup with the headphones. It makes me really talk like I'm like a podcaster, like an NPR person.
I feel like you've got a good podcast voice, Mickey.
I'm really I'm trying really hard.
well,
just talking close to the mic, so.
Yeah, the NPR.
So people have to listen to what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. It might not be very important, but they're going to listen.
And it sounds important. Mm-hmm. That's it. Anytime you whisper it, it really adds the emphasis leaning in. All right. Well, Mickey, I'm so glad to have you back today. And listeners, before we get into today's conversation, I just want to quickly note that if you're listening to the show and you enjoy the conversation, the best way you can support the show is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving us a rating and review on your preferred podcast app. Specifically, if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can leave us a rating and actually write a short review. Or if you're on Spotify, you can just listen to an episode and then go to that little star button, click 5 stars, and we're good to go. Additionally, related to dCFF, to watch all of the films in this year's festival that we will be discussing today, you can head on over to deadcenterfilm.org to get your pass today. And of course, there are several options that I'll note again at the end of the show, several different ways to go to dCFF and watch the films, including what do I call a traditional dCFF pass that'll get you access to the parties and all the films, and actually the new premium Bison pass, and of course, individual tickets for those who just want to catch any individual film. With that said, let's go ahead and move on to today's topic, UndeadCenter. So, Mickey, I think a lot of people may not be familiar with the term like midnight film. People maybe who haven't been to as many film festivals, especially genre-focused film festivals. So can you tell us what exactly is UndeadCenter?
UndeadCenter, so, it's the midnight section of dCFF, as you said. Now, so that doesn't mean, obviously, that the movies start at midnight or anything, but, rather the midnight aesthetic. So you're fantastic, horror, sci-fi, weird, dark, funny, anything genre, anything subversive that wouldn't necessarily fit into the dCFF program as we've come to know it. Yeah,
no, it's, I think like dCFF, I always think of like the weird, creepy sci-fi films, or even B movies to a certain extent, make it to the Midnight Festival. But I think typically lots of variety in there. And speaking of the variety, I mean, what would you say separates the Midnight section or the UndeadCenter from what we've seen in years past at dCFF?
I think when dCFF became a more like established festival, they were getting a lot of submissions, people assuming that it was a horror-related festival with the name dCFF. I mean, it's called dCFF. What are you going to do? Yeah. So I think because of that, they've really kind of like tried to go a completely different direction through the years. dCFF's always strived to be like a more inclusive festival, like mirroring more of like a South by Southwest or a Tribeca or Sundance. Less niche stuff. Which was kind of my selling point in all of it. That most if not all those bigger festivals also have midnight programming, so it's time for dCFF to embrace it.
Right? And I feel like every once in a while we'll get a bone, like they'll throw us a bone, like what was it, the Puppetmaster movie from a couple of years ago? Yeah. It kind of felt like that vibe.
And it was weird.
Yes.
No, it was weird that it was in the lineup, you know what I mean?
At all.
So it was like, we've always needed this, I feel like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, I think for avid film festival goers, this is not an uncommon thing to come across, but I'm really excited that dCFF is leaning more into that this year, hopefully to expose viewers to some new stuff. Now, Mickey, of course, there's a wide variety of films within the UndeadCenter Festival track this year. You've got short films that span multiple genres, and you also have a couple of feature-length films like Piggy and After Blue. So what would you say, if you were to boil it down, what would you say all these films have in common?
I mean, they're all, they're all saying something different, doing something different. I mean, these are artists who just don't have any interest appealing to what a mass audience might be interested in. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would argue that we don't even know what a mass audience is interested in because, I mean, isn't that always changing with every new crop of movies every year? So these films are like exploring and, not pandering. And the best part, if these movies don't do it for you, then that's okay because they're just not for you. But for the people that do like this kind of shit, now we have something for you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's not, I'm not like saying like it's divisive or alienating you, and I'm just like, there's truly something for everyone.
I have to ask the question though. I mean, with this being sort of a new block, I'm wondering how exactly did you curate these films? Were these films that you discovered on your own, or did you work with other programmers? Were these submitted traditionally? How did you come about programming these films?
Let's go back. Like when we first played Strike Dear Mistress and Curious Heart at Fantastic Fest in Austin, and that was like 2018. That was kind of my introduction to the genre world. You know what I mean? So it was like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, there is an audience for this stuff, which is not a knock on Oklahoma or anything, but, we didn't know. The film scene here is still so young, and we've always known it takes a couple of years for anything to kind of catch up here in Oklahoma, unfortunately. Except with weed. Somehow, Oklahoma was at the forefront of weed. One of the, like, we got weed early on, but... legal weed.
We now have more dispensaries than any other state in the country. I'm pretty sure more than California and Colorado and Washington. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but no, like, so having had movies and all these genre fests through the years now, like I now exist in a world where that is my film festival experience. So it was natural that I'd want to curate a midnight section. Try to bring that world to OKC somehow. So it would have been dumb to start like a whole new festival, right? I mean, nothing wrong with the festival we have here. So I'm just, just lucky that they bought into it and are letting me do this. I think that was the long way around your question, obviously. But the answer is yes, I curated all these movies mostly based on what I'd seen throughout the year touring the circuit with Agnes.
That's exciting. I kind of like that because as you even just alluded to a second ago, how do we really know what people like? There's a tried and true formula. Yeah, we know people will like it enough.
There'll always be something that comes out that it's just like, oh,
yep.
Who had any idea? Who knew?
Right. You don't know what people like until you try something new.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I definitely think there's an opportunity here for niche genre films. And
what's the big hit right now? Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Exactly. Great example.
I mean, to me, it's just a straight up like Spielberg movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Like in terms of like the tone,
I just don't think it's that like outlandish. I mean, it is, and everybody is going crazy about it, and it was a great movie. I was moved. I was moved, but I was just kind of like, no, this is just where film is going. Like this is like this wild, like constant, like aggressive editing. Like that's just the style, and it's not that weird. It's just like a Spielberg movie or something. You know what I mean? Right. I'm sure E.T. was fucking wild at the time.
Yeah, I read an interesting piece a couple weeks ago about it, like how this movie feels like it's tailored to Gen Z in a way, like the kind of like really quick editing, but also all sort of feeding this larger storyline. And I imagine, like you said, Spielberg probably back in his day kind of felt like, oh, he's catering to the youths, with this new thing.
Well, I just mean like in that it has the heart, it has the fantastical elements, and has the wild, outlandish, alien stuff happening. You know what I mean? Like in the Spielberg term, like so, it just has all the same elements that a Spielberg movie had. So like someone watching a Spielberg movie in the 80s that's what people are watching Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like I feel like.
Yeah. So, but what you're putting into the UndeadCenter, this is not necessarily like that per se, right?
No. I guess that was we were talking. Just about you don't know what audiences are gonna like.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly. But if to your point though, I think it does take every studio or some creative filmmakers to like try something a little old, little new in order to kind of get you hit lightning in a bottle with Everything Everywhere All at Once, right?
Yeah, hit the sweet spot.
Yep. Why would you say that you decided to spearhead this specific track, and why do you think 2022 is the right year for the inclusion?
Well, I didn't decide. I mean, I think it just so happens that this is the year I think dCFF22 was ready for something like this. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to grow, you got to evolve, and I think they're kind of trying to do something different this year. New leadership, and I think they're embracing that, and I think it's more them than me. Like, shit, I would have been ready 2 years ago.
Hey man, I would have been there. First showing. So let's dive a little more into some of the films. I think we've talked about exactly, hey, here's what makes this unique, and here's kind of the vibe you're going to. Let's talk specifically about the movies, and I want to start with the UndeadCenter shorts. So these are the short films that are going to be playing first night of dCFF22, Thursday, June 9th at 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time at the Harkins Bricktown Theater. So as I said a minute ago, Mickey, you have quite the variety across the shorts. There's 7 in total, if I'm correct. You have things that are animated like Buzzkill. You have a black and white psychological horror with Itch, and then the documentary Dunstan Checks Out. Like you said, you kind of saw these short films throughout the year. What about these stuck out to you, and why did you say of the short films you saw, these are the ones that people need to check out?
Well, this year, and I'm sure it'll be different in the coming years, but I also imagine the program itself will get more expansive as well. This specific program, UndeadCenter. But yeah, so this year I just picked what I liked. I love all these shorts. I think this block is like so diverse and cool, and we're doing it opening night, which I think is perfect because it'll kind of give everyone a taste of what's to come. You know what I mean? Like, the audience will get to see a wide range of stuff and hopefully be ready for what else we're going to hit them with throughout the weekend. It's a great time trying to figure out the order was, well, that among other things made me realize, like, oh, programming is actually kind of hard. You're kind of trying to build your own roller coaster. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to take the audience here yet. I want to take them here. So a lot of watching the block and figuring out just the most satisfying order.
I don't think a lot of audiences even think about that. Like, there's actually like a story with the way you program it, the tone, the vibe. Like you said, I think the roller coaster is a great comparison. Has me excited for the order, actually. I don't know if it matches the order on the website in terms of like how they have them listed, but I think it's going to be a great ride. These films all have your stamp of greatness, right? You're saying these films pass the Mickey Reece test.
Yeah, the stamp of greatness, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But they caught your eye and you found them kind of interesting. Of the shorts, are there any of these in particular that you're looking forward to showing audiences the most? And it's like choosing your children at this point.
Sophie's choice.
Yeah.
I can't answer that. There's this amazing filmmaker I met at Fantastic Fest last year named Tipper Newton, and her short won Fantastic Fest. Like best short or something. I don't know. I don't remember the category of these awards, but something of that nature. Maybe audience choice. I don't remember what it was. It was called The Dangerous Type, and it was amazing. So she has a new short this year called Wild Card, about this gentleman who meets this girl from a video dating service. It doesn't matter. Don't worry about who cares about what it's about. Just watch the damn thing. So it's got like a little like after hours feel to it, like the Scorsese movie. I think we're gonna be the first audience to see it. Like, I think we got it first. So yeah, I'm excited about that. But I'm really excited for everything. I mean, they're all dope.
I'm going to link the shorts block in the show notes for listeners, so make sure to check them out there.
Friday night, we're showing a movie called Deadstream, and I'll read the synopsis too. A disgraced internet personality attempts to win back his followers by live streaming one night alone in a haunted house. But when he accidentally pisses off a vengeful spirit, his big comeback event becomes a real-time fight for his life. All right, so this is like the perfect movie to start the weekend. Like, it's a blast. This one actually played at South by, and I had a friend who went down there and was like, and I was just like, anything I should look into? And he was like, yeah, Deadstream. It sounds like a dumbass premise, but it's a great time. And so I reached out to Shudder, I watched the movie skeptically, of course, and I was like, oh my God, this is like Evil Dead 2022, and it's fucking awesome. I think it'll be one of the favorites at the festival this year. It's that fun. It's so good.
I mean, you have me sold that anytime you compare a film to a Sam Raimi film, I get pretty jazzed.
Very Sam Raimi. It's Sam Raimi with GoPros.
A man ahead of his time. GoPros it sounds like a treasure trove for Sam Raimi. Right. So again, listeners, that film is Deadstream, and that's going to be playing Friday night at the Harkins Theater in Bricktown. Check that out. Of course, the next film you have playing on Saturday night, that's Saturday, June 11th at 9:20 p.m. at Bricktown as well, is Piggy. Let's get more into this feature film piece here. I mean, this is a Spanish film from, writer-director, is it Carlito Peretta?
I've got a synopsis for that one too. You ready?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
So Sarah's tormented by local girls in the village where she spends her summer holidays. However, her bullies are kidnapped by a stranger. Sarah faces a dilemma about what to do about it. this is like this is very dark. It's like an intense like character study. I mean, there's still plenty there for like horror folks, like some nice gore and some shocking stuff. But I'm gonna say it's very Carrie-esque in its themes.
So pretty psychological. You'd say them. Very nice
for sure. You will be unsettled.
And that's the uncomfortable film. If you want to see the uncomfortable, okay, Piggy.
No, we get worse than that.
Oh, you ended. So you're gonna end the festival with the most.
There's some. The shorts are pretty wild too. I mean, but that being said, that doesn't mean like it's all fun,
right? Oh yeah,
the whole thing is fun. Like, so it's not just like something of just like let's try to alienate the audience as much as we can or anything. I did like my best to curate, stuff that everybody's going to like, because even people who like genre stuff are still, not sold on everything.
No. I mean, like, I'm sure, like, there's a clear. When I say make uncomfortable, I'm not. What I mean is, it's a film maybe positioning the audience or keeping them on their toes in a certain way, a way that might be a little more intriguing than you might see, like, in a studio film, for example. It's not as cookie cutter, I'd imagine. Okay, so that's going to take us to the last film. That's After Blue, Dirty Paradise, which is playing Sunday night, closing out the festival, I might add. This is the last film listed on the schedule. Mm-hmm. And this is from a French writer-director. Is this Bertrand Medico? Is that how you say his name?
Do you think I know how to say his name?
Well, so let me put it this way. This is a high concept sci-fi film based on the synopsis I read online. What exactly can you tell us about this film?
So After Blue is like, it's very art house. I think there was a little fear that I was gonna just program shit like this for the whole section, but I managed to pull back a little with my other selections because I booked this one first, luckily. So that kind of informed everything. I'm just like, all right, I got the real challenging one. Let me go back a little bit, but it's very Jodorowsky inspired, like a dystopian nightmare, lesbian acid western, high fashion, just beautiful movie. And it's just sprawling and so gorgeous, and it's the last movie of the festival, so everyone can go home and have a year to think about it. There won't be anything like this at dCFF22. I mean, there isn't anything like this at UndeadCenter. I mean, so I'm very honored to show it. I don't know that I can talk about it much because. What am I going to talk about?
Mm-hmm. You don't want to share too much of the magic.
I don't want to share any of this stuff. I'm just doing it because I got to, man. Trying to get people there to see it.
Hey, man, yeah, I'm excited for just to get films like this because, like you said, I like how you put it a second ago, to have you thinking about it until the next year. I love films that. So I mentioned Men earlier. I just saw that the other night, and people were like, "What'd you think?" I was like. I love that I'm going to be thinking about this movie for months. Like there's imagery there. It's uncomfortable in that it's like it doesn't necessarily answer questions easily. And I haven't seen After Blue, but just based off of what I read about the film and sort of what you described here, I think leaving people with something to chew on and mew on really is going to set the stage for UndeadCenter next year, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This was the first one I got.
Oh, really?
This was the one that gave me the confidence of like, okay, I can do this. I got After Blue. Like, I can do this. And then there was a lot of... It got harder. Like, this is, my first year to do it. Like, programmers, it's not easy. It's not easy. Like, it's not as... I don't know what... I guess maybe I kind of, diminished it as well, like, going into it. Just like, oh, this is easy. You just got to have, taste. But it's like, that's not really all of it.
I had a curiosity. I mean, what's that process look like for you? I mean, is it like, do you have to call up the Shudder, for example, and say, hey, we want to screen this at your festival, and you have to sell them on them?
Well, I'm sure I'm doing it wrong. I'm sure, like Sarah and Sunrise and stuff, they have like greater hookups. They've been doing this longer and everything. I'll just kind of like email someone I know from. If I don't know the filmmaker, I'll email someone. I can email someone from Fantastic Fest, or I can email someone from Shudder, just like people I've had relations with, and be like, "Can you connect me to this person?" kind of deal. And then some of them I hit up on Instagram.
Nice, just straight up.
So like with the shorts, you know what I mean? Like some of those, I was just like, "Hey, I like your short. I found you. Can I play it?" And they're usually like stoked.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, again, there's so much to talk about to think about. I'm ready. I'm really excited for UndeadCenter this year. So again, listeners, you get access to UndeadCenter by buying a pass that includes full access pass, which will get you into everything at the festival, including your parties. There's also the Bison Pass, which will allow you to reserve your seats ahead of time, make sure you're secure, you don't have to wait in the line. And of course, you can also buy your tickets for individual films right before the film plays, day of. Now, Mickey, one other thing I just wanted to ask you about, you actually have a new film called Country Gold. I had the privilege of seeing it last year, and super excited for people to check it out. I had a great time with it. I laughed. I was moved. You're actually a star in the film as well. Is there anything you'd like to say about Country Gold, or maybe you could tease our listeners with?
It's premiering at Fantasia in July.
Is there anything you can say about Country Gold for listeners today?
Is there anything you can say about it? You saw it.
Listen, man, I had a great time. And as wild as a ride as it was, I was not expecting the closing moment that launched the credits. It was incredible. I laughed so hard until I cried about it. Was great. And but I also found like the way you sort of portrayed the character and the high concept to be really fascinating. I thought about that movie for like a week, and I still think about it, frankly, when it comes up, because there's just a lot of great filmmaking that you incorporated into it, while also kind of having a good sense of humor, I thought.
So I think like it was, having done after like kind of a trilogy of horror films, Strike Their Mistress and Climate of the Hunter and Agnes, kind of bored with the horror right now. For now, I'm not going to go back and do another horror movie. I mean, these movies aren't, I'm not saying the movies I've made are horror. They're really not. They're just they're almost like a bait and switch. Just make you think that they're horror, and then you're going in to watch some dramedy. But no, but just it was, it was kind of meant to just be like, okay, here's a trilogy, and now I'm going to move on and go back to my thing. And I feel like, especially, being able to get a little more resources and a little more money now than I used to. It's kind of just like, it was like the second chapter of Mickey Reese's Alien. Country Gold is, you know what I mean? Like,
it has a lot of overlap with Alien for
right.
sure. Of your films, that felt like the one that was closer related in terms of style.
Yeah, and so it'll be like kind of a, I imagine we'll do a third one of, celebrity black and white movie like that. But it's it was a return to form to me. I feel like of just like these are the kind of movies I want to make. I had to do these kind of like horror themed movies to get just to be able to climb up the ladder a little bit, you know what I mean? And be able to, sell movies and get movies out there and get festivals interested in stuff. And now, because I mean, if Country Gold would have came out before Strike and Climate and Agnes, probably wouldn't do as well as it's going to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, all right, now I can go back to what I wanted to do, which is, always comedies.
Yeah. And your comedies are great, man. Arrows of Outrageous Fortune. I still, the last act of that movie blew my mind. Seriously.
Thank you. No, I that's what I feel like that's where I'm most comfortable at, just doing comedies. But God, man, people making comedies, I don't know how you get any, get any leeway with that. You know what I mean? That's a hard genre to make yourself, as a filmmaker to like make yourself with.
Definitely. I feel like it's becoming increasingly difficult, too. Just the way the entire comedy scape in terms of film has shifted in the last 20 years. It's a lot different.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Country Gold, the most interesting thing I've heard about it is that someone said it was like watching a greatest hits compilation.
Of like some of your old stuff?
Yeah, I love it. I love the movie.
You are going to be debuting it in July. Hopefully we'll be hearing more news about where people can see it next after that.
I'm sure before the year's up, it'll be out and about.
Excellent.
Where people can see.
Excellent. Well, listeners, again, Country Gold, bookmark it. When it actually hits VOD or a festival near you, I'm sure we'll be talking about it on the show again. Mickey Reece, just to close this out, is there anything else you'd like to add about the inaugural UndeadCenter programming?
I'd like to talk about politics for a little bit if you have a minute.
Oh, on our podcast? What could possibly go wrong?
No, I'm good. I think we covered everything.
Well, all right, listeners, just to reiterate, you can get your badges to check out all the awesome films as part of the UndeadCenter programming block at deadcenterfilm.org. The link will be provided in the show notes as well, and make sure to check back on that Bison Pass to ensure that you can secure tickets ahead of time. In addition to all those perks that I mentioned earlier, you get all the perks from the dCenter Pass, including exclusive parties, you get priority viewing in your showings, you name it, it's all there. And again, if you want to keep up with what we do here at the Cinematropolis, you can go to thecinematropolis.com or hit us up on Twitter at the Cinematrop or on Facebook at facebook.com/the to find all of our dCenter Film Festival coverage. Thanks so much for joining us. Mickey, thank you so much for taking time to sit down with me, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Always. Listeners, we'll catch you again next time.